mynews.studio.
Picture this. At daybreak in the Amazon rainforest, ancient stingless bees are now legally recognized. The question is, can insects actually become legal persons?
Today is January 14th, 2026. For the first time, an insect species anywhere in the world has been granted full legal rights. This happened in Peru, in the Amazon region. Two places, Satipo and Nauta, passed ordinances giving stingless bees the right to exist and thrive. But what does that mean in real terms?
It goes beyond symbolism. These new rules actually require action. If a bee colony is discovered during construction, it can't just be destroyed. It has to be carefully relocated. Municipalities are also required to cut back on pesticides, conserve native plants, and even provide legal representation for the bees if their habitats are at risk. Which leads to the bigger question: why focus on bees and why now?
Let's take a closer look. Stingless bees, Meliponini, are some of the planet's oldest bees. They don't sting, and for centuries they've been central to indigenous Amazonian culture. These bees are vital pollinators, responsible for pollinating over 80% of rainforest plants, sometimes even up to 90%. That covers crops like coffee and avocado. If these bees vanish, what happens to biodiversity?
It collapses. Indigenous communities are already seeing it. What used to take minutes, finding a bee colony, now takes hours. The reasons are straightforward: climate change, clearing of forests, pesticides, and competition from introduced honeybees. There's chemical evidence too. Lab tests found pesticide traces in honey from bees living far from farms. This decline is widespread, but to most outsiders, it's invisible.
The turning point came with Vas Espino, a chemical biologist. During the pandemic, she studied honey that indigenous groups use for medicinal purposes. She detected hundreds of different medicinal compounds: antiviral, antibacterial, antioxidant, even anti-cancer properties. Does that shift how we think about these bees?
It really should. Espino's research showed that bees have both ecological and medicinal value. She led fieldwork with indigenous experts to document traditional beekeeping. The message from these communities was urgent. I can't find my bees anymore. That urgency helped drive the push for legal protection.
So what rights do these bees actually have now?
They have the right to exist and flourish in a healthy environment. They have the right to maintain stable populations, to live free from pollution and climate disruption. And importantly, they have the right to legal representation if these rights are threatened. This is a big change. Before now, Peruvian law didn't even officially recognize stingless bees. Only European honeybees had that status.
The global impact could be significant. Legal scholars say this might spark restoration of habitats, stricter pesticide controls, and more scientific research. Already, groups in Bolivia, the Netherlands, and the US are paying close attention. Could this be a turning point for conservation law?
It could be. For the first time, an insect is treated as a legal subject instead of just a resource. Peru is making legal personhood for nature a practical reality, not just a theory. But this change didn't happen alone. It's deeply connected to indigenous knowledge.
Can you explain that part?
The ordinances include something called biocultural community protocols. These formally record ancestral knowledge, ways to care for bees and protect their habitats. There were workshops across Peru and Bolivia, organized by groups like Earth Law Center, and over 150 people took part, many of them women. The process led to the Declaration of Rights for native stingless bees, which is now municipal law.
So, these aren't just ideas on paper. What are municipalities actually expected to do now?
They must relocate bee colonies, cut down on insecticides, conserve native plants, and run environmental education programs. Municipal environmental teams are in charge of making sure these things actually happen.
But how will this be enforced? The Amazon is huge, and pressures like deforestation haven't gone away. Is it realistic for municipalities to track pesticide use and restore habitats at such a scale?
That's the key challenge. Enforcement will rely on local resources, community involvement, and backing from organizations. The question is whether this model will spread to other regions or if it will remain a unique case.
The world is watching. This is where biodiversity, food security, and legal innovation all come together. If bees disappear, it affects farming and wild ecosystems alike. By giving bees rights, Peru is rethinking how law relates to nature. Will others follow, or will this just be a symbolic step?
That's the central issue. The laws are in place, communities are ready, but the real test will be whether these efforts last and spread elsewhere. We'll see if this becomes true change or stays a local experiment.
To recap, bees in 2 Peruvian municipalities now have legal rights, the first insects in history with this status. It's grounded in indigenous knowledge, backed by municipal law, and could set new standards for conservation worldwide.
Thanks for joining us. Ancient bees, new laws, and a global question. Will the world recognize nature's rights?
Thanks for listening. This episode was brought to you by mynews.studio. Try it now for free.